vocational training centers with the standards in the nationally managed technical and vocational education and training institutions? And if so, could the cabinet explain the outcomes of the engagements in the respective counties? Two, could the cabinet secretary also outline steps being taken to encourage private investment in infrastructural development around VTCs and TVET institutions and universities to address the acute shortage of student accommodation facilities around these institutions? And C, could the national government consider advancing conditional grants to county governments to support urban planning and development of basic infrastructure such as water supply and sewage systems in areas around tertiary institutions to further attract private investments? Speaker, please allow me to indulge me for 2 minutes just to explain that bit. The reason I was asking this question is because it is now clear that when you set up universities and national institutions, they trigger peri-urban growth. I was a chair of Sigalagala National Polytechnic, and when I was the first chair when it was formed as National Polytechnic, and it rose from a learners population of 2,900 to 13,500 by the time I left. And anybody passing Sigalagala can see it has so much population, but there was no intergovernmental conversation around growing Sigalagala as a peri-urban area. So if we operationalized intergovernmental conversations, then the national government, as they declare national polytechnics and universities, would be compelled to also give conditional grants to develop the relevant peri-urban infrastructure to support those learning facilities. This is the context of that question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond. Now, before the Honorable CS responds to this question, Honorable Senators, we have 6 questions directed to the CS. By way of managing time, each question will take a maximum of half an hour. The question by Senator Muma was raised at 10 a.m., and the most we can stretch it is up to 10:30. Thereafter, we'll move to the next, so that at least by 1, we'll have handled all the 6 questions. You may proceed, Honorable CS, to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, honorable members, for the invitation. And the message I've received here is well taken, and will ensure that when called upon, we will attend the Senate and respond to the questions as best as we can. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, in response to question 052, Part A, Mr. Speaker, the mandate of the national government in education and training is set out in the 4th schedule of the Constitution. The mandate of the national government is education policy, standards, curricular examinations, and the granting of university charters and other policies. The national government also has the responsibility over tertiary educational institutions and other institutions of research and higher learning, and primary schools, special education institutions, secondary schools, and special education institutions as well that I've indicated. The mandate of the county government, Mr. Speaker, on the other hand, is on the pre-primary education, village polytechnics, home craft centers, and childcare facilities. In the national government, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education, through the State Department for Technical, Vocational Education and Training, is responsible for education and training policies on examinations, assessments, and certification including quality assurance in TVETs. The uniform implementation of these policies among the counties is key in achieving standardization of the quality of qualifications achieved by our learners. The overall framework, Mr. Speaker, for intergovernmental relations is in the Intergovernmental Relations Act 2012. The Act provides a framework for consultation and cooperation between the national and county governments amongst county governments. The State Department for Technical Vocational Education and Training works with the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee and county governments and the Council of Governors to coordinate vocational education and training. This collaboration has been in the areas of policy development, legislation, norms and standards, and the implementation of the devolved functions. It's critical to note, Mr. Speaker, that for purposes of this coordination, the State Department for TVET has full-fledged directorate known as the Directorate of Vocational Education and Training, whose primary mandate is to provide the linkage and coordination with the county governments in the areas of policy coordination. This coordination is also achieved through the various semi-autonomous government agencies under the State Department, such as the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Authority, TVETA, the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, KNQA, and the Curriculum Development Assessment and Certification Council, the TVET-SEDAC. Mr. Speaker, TVETA undertakes the registration of TVETs, including vocational training centers, and the registration of trainers. In this regard, TVETA has so far registered 1,174 VTCs and licensed over 9,221 trainers countrywide. The TVETA board has also has a co-opted representative of the Council of Governors to articulate the matters of vocational training in counties. Mr. Speaker, KNQA is established under the Kenya National Qualifications Framework Act 2014. The Act mandates KNQA to coordinate the development of policies on national qualifications. In developing policies, KNQA sets out the specific roles and coordination mechanisms for each agency. These include the roles of the qualifications awarding institutions, regulators, assessment and examination bodies, institutions that perform placement and admission of trainees and curriculum developers. TVET-SEDAC, on the other hand, actively collaborates with various stakeholders, including county governments, industry players, and regulatory bodies in the rollout of the competency-based education and training. TVET-SEDAC has partnered with county governments to roll out competency-based assessment, and so far, several VTCs have been trained on the CBA. The VTCs accredited by TVETA to offer CBET course have been trained and capacity built to implement Level 3 and Level 4 CBET curriculum in these institutions. Mr. Speaker, trainers from the VTCs offering CBET have additionally been engaged by TVET-SEDAC as contracted professionals in the Level 3 and Level 4 courses. As assessors, the persons who develop and validate assessment tools, and also as examiners, these are the people who are engaged to mark national examinations. The same are engaged as supervisors, invigilators, and monitoring officers to oversee the conduct of summative assessments. TVET-SEDAC works closely with VTCs offering CBET assessments in their termly assessment series, which are 3 in a year. That's March, April, July, August, and November, December. Mr. Speaker, it's also important to note that county governments are represented in the boards of governors of TVET institutions in their respective counties. The second schedule of the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Act provides for a representative of the county governor of the county within which the institution is located to be a member of the board. As a ministry, we work closely with the county governments in implementing this requirement. This ensures that the voice of the county government is represented in the management of technical and vocational education institutions within their counties. Through TVET SEDAC, Mr. Speaker, the ministry has developed 165 CBET curricula and occupational standards for the Kenya National Qualifications Framework Level 3 and 4, which are currently being implemented by the vocational training centers at county level. TVET SEDAC has also worked to develop the capacity of the VTC trainers. The counties that have so far benefited from this are indicated as follows. Bungoma, we have a number of people trained, 254. Trans Nzoia, 133. Kirinyaga, 142. Nairobi, 23. Laikipia, 53. Bomet, 98. Machakos, 72. TVET has engaged with the county government and other stakeholders in the development of TVETs in the following ways. Number one, the authority has developed services through the establishment of 4 regional offices: Coast, North Rift, Western and Mount Kenya regions. They have co-opted a representative from the Council of Governors to the TVETA board to articulate issues of vocational training. There has been organized 2 regional stakeholder fora annually to share quality assurance reports with VTC managers and county directors of vocational training. Periodic training of VTC trainers and managers on quality assurance and governance issues. TVETA trains 400 trainers in internal quality assurance annually. Licensing of trainers is utilized at all levels, both national and county. Together with the development of partners, ILO, we have assisted in developing strategic plan for all VTCs in the 3 counties of Narok, Kajiado, and Nakuru. Together with the development partners, a partner known as No One Out, the TVETA did capacity building for 180 managers of VTCs from 180 centers, where 540 board members, 3 from each of the centers, were trained. They have conducted periodic quality audits in vocational training centers to ensure compliance and provide advice on continuous improvement. There has been an engagement of county government as the stakeholders during these standard developments. These include guidelines and standards on CBET, recognition of prior learning policies, trainers' qualification framework, national polytechnics requirements and guidelines, open distance e-learning known as ODEL, centers of excellence, CBET assessment centers, competency-based assessment tools, recognition and equation of TVET qualifications, and industrial attachment. Mr. Speaker, to the second part of that question, Mr. Speaker, there are 1,156 vocational training centers across all the 47 counties in Kenya, with a total enrollment of 141,157 trainees. These institutions are strategically located in villages, ensuring that youth can conveniently access skills training while residing at home. However, recognizing the needs of trainees from far-flung areas, some VTCs, particularly those situated in the arid and semi-arid lands and urban centers, have established accommodation facilities. These facilities help bridge the gap for learners who would otherwise face challenges in accessing training due to distance. As a ministry, we also explore ways to enhance student accommodation in VTCs, particularly in areas where demand exceeds available facilities. Mr. Speaker, the government, in collaboration with development partners such as the African Development Bank and the Germany Development Bank, KfW, is actively investing in the infrastructural development of tertiary institutions. Additionally, funding is being sourced from the National Government Constituency Development Fund and contributions from local communities surrounding these institutions. To further address the shortage of student accommodation in tertiary institutions, the government is engaging private investors through a structured public-private partnership processes. Through this, the government encourages potential investors with interest in developing accommodation facilities within tertiary institutions to make such investments. We have taken measures such as encouraging institutions with land to enter into collaborative partnerships with private investors through which the private investors develop accommodation facilities for use by students. Part 3 of that question, Mr. Speaker, it is indeed true that conditional grants offer both levels of government the opportunity to fund under-resourced services or infrastructure such as water supply and sewerage systems. Water and sanitation are a devolved function, yes, Mr. Speaker. Noting how important these services are to the effective functioning of TVET institutions, we are committed to work together with specific county governments to seek conditional grants that will support them. This will be especially key in areas around universities and TVETs with high student enrollment that has placed pressure on existing resources. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Any supplementary questions? Senator Muma.
Yes, I have, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, could the Minister indicate whether the Ministry of Education has any collaborative working relations with the Housing Department at the national level to secure part of the housing development units for tertiary institutions to provide accommodation for students, given that these are the most vulnerable individuals who need housing? Secondly, does the ministry have a record of the number of students taken up, those who are not taken up by the universities? How many are taken up by VCTs and TVET institutions? Do you have